Hey there YouTube, Paulus here. I wanted to talk a little bit about something that's near and dear to my heart, mostly because, well, I'm a musician and this is directly about musicians at the end of the day. I just got done wrapping a video where I talk about a fun little fuzz pedal actually, and it's been a really interesting experience to deal with different kind of subcultures inside of the guitar community. One thing that's really interesting to me is the fact that there's still plenty of people out there who will always judge on the look of a thing before the sound of a thing, or will judge perhaps the why even more than the actual result of like a product demo or a review. It's like, well, why is this guy doing it? And for a review, that makes a lot of sense. Like, where is this coming from? You know, and a lot of the time, you know, I'm a guy who always questions the validity of like, why am I doing this? You know, so that people who watch my videos don't have to worry about it. You know, I'm not a shill at the end of the day. There's a lot of people out there who would use fame or perhaps the knowledge of, oh, I know this guy, and start name dropping people to try and bring legitimacy to themselves. And I like to think I don't do that, because I think that that's, you know, for lack of a better word, it's like as if you don't have a personality, therefore you need to parrot and pigeon on these other folks. And so there's a lot of insecurity, right? There's a lot of insecurity with musicians, whether you're a guitar player or not, you know. It's a crazy thing. Like, how many arguments, how many times have you seen in a Facebook group or just in a chat where it's like, this pedal is better than that pedal, this guitar is better than that guitar, you use more than 6 strings, you must not know how to actually play guitar, blah, 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 blah. Bassists are stupid, drummers are this, trumpet players are blowhards, you know, stupid jokes nonstop. And the thing is that there's a certain level where it's like hilarious, you know. Then there's a certain level where it's like, well, wait a second, where's that actually coming from? So I think it's actually just insecurity. I was recently, there was a comment on one of my videos recently where there was a guy complimenting my guitar. I had just gotten my Aristides 060. It's like an aluminum finish. It looks like the Terminator. That was my goal with it. And he said something along the lines of like, beautiful guitar, but you. And I just don't understand, like, am I supposed to have really long hair, tattoos, and look like that to somehow become legitimate to the public? If so, maybe I should completely stop showing my face and only, you know, neck down everything. It doesn't make any sense to me that people still think like this. But of course, some people are not that educated and they can't get past that, you know. And I say educated and I mean it. Like, some people are not understanding or empathetic or have been taught enough empathy to appreciate that someone who looks different, you know, with a certain haircut, with a certain style of clothing, with a, you know, if they've got piercings or not, if they wear makeup or not, if they have a beard or not, like, it shouldn't matter. What's being said, what's being given in the first place. And a lot of people will go, yeah, but image is half the battle. And sometimes I agree with that, and sometimes I think it's complete garbage, because that then leads to the excuse to treat someone badly just because they look funny to you. And I don't really care for these comments. I usually delete the ones that have really harsh words, because I don't want some 12-year-old kid to watch my review and to scroll down and read someone saying something so extraordinarily stupid about me when they have no idea who I am. And that's kind of what this comes back to. This insecurity is about not knowing who you are as a person typically, right? Like, as a musician, it's like, well, I kind of play this music and that music and this music, and that insecurity is coming from a place of not knowingness. So go and explore yourself, you know? Go in and go to that show that you might not usually go to. I went and I saw Lily Allen last week, and she put on a better show than so many tech death bands and prog metal bands that I've seen. There was such a beautiful banter to the whole thing, and she was sick, and she was belting out the tunes. And she put on a better gig than all these, you know, expensive gearhead kind of guitar players could dream of putting on, because they're too focused on, the positioning of, okay, now, but I need to, you know, play this complicated music to express what exactly, you know? So for me, as a musician, I've come to realize that the more truthful I am with myself before I do anything creative, the better the product, because I don't want a certain kind of result from doing a video like this. I don't expect this to go and become a viral thing. under any circumstances. I don't expect anything I do to be like that, because it sets up this expectation which feeds into more insecurity. And insecurity seems to be the bane of actual creativity a lot of the time. It's like, oh, that guy's got this guitar, I wish I had that guitar, I'm not good enough until I have that guitar. And it's like, it has nothing to do with the gear. It has everything to do with how you create something with the tools that you are stoked enough and privileged enough to have. Because a lot of people don't have an amp or a guitar, let alone 5 of them, let alone a Fender, let alone even a $150 guitar. There are some people out there who really have very, very little in life and are so happy with it and are able to make their sound incredible with so little. And it's like, it's a bit of like a check yourself kind of a thing. Not check your privilege, because I really don't want to sound like a PC person. I really don't want to get into that at all. But really, when I see people undermine others and try to take away their credibility because they don't use a piece of gear, or take away their credibility because their hair's not long enough, I feel like that's extremely offensive. Not that it matters to anyone else, right? Like, I don't care if you think, if you know that I'm pissed off, it's just extremely juvenile. And this is a problem. This is a big overreaching problem. I've already done a video about gatekeeping before, and I mean, I'm sure I've lost bands and gigs because of the way that I look, because of the way that I play guitar even sometimes. And I thought that I was pretty good at guitar, and then I would get this comment that was extraordinarily vitriolic and rude and harsh, and it's like, wow, am I actually good at this? I've put in so many years. Wow, is it worth it for me to continue? And the big shift came when it was just like, why does that matter? Why does that person's comment matter to me? Even if it's a parent discouraging someone, discouraging their child to play music because it's not their music back in my day, doesn't matter. If you really, really love it, you play it and you don't compromise. That's probably part of the reason why I've been such a solo act for so long. I would love to play in a group that was like Lily Allen's or Gary Newman. I saw Gary Newman a month beforehand at the same beautiful venue, the Vogue in Vancouver. And it was like, that would be amazing, because there's just this power to it, this presence to it, this control. It doesn't need to be complicated to be good. It also doesn't need to be simple to be good. It's not like the Beatles, for goodness sake. It's really about having that inner sense of security and understanding that what you create is always going to be like something from you, right? So if you judge it before it's even done, for example, it'll never come out, Have you ever noticed, if you ever write music and you judge it and you say, no, this riff, I don't know, the creativity stops. You've put up a dam immediately. And if you start saying words like can't or hard or difficult, you start creating mental blockages. Supposedly, when you say the word can't in relation to something, your brain is like, well, that's it. Can't be done. And physiologically, you just can't push yourself because you can't. It's a zero kind of a thing. And then there's folks who are like, oh man, I should have cut a record, or I should have done this, or I should have told that person how I feel. It's like, well, should have doesn't actually help either. Should have is a dangerous word because it implies that you can change something about the past, but the past is gone, man. The past was 5 minutes ago. So ultimately, folks, should is bad. What do you replace that word with? Must. Well, I must do something about this, or I must create a really awesome review of that pedal because I must show people what I think about it. Because why the hell not? That's been the thing. Why the hell not? I believe in the immortalization of the internet and how it's capable of now transcending time big time. Like, you can go back on my YouTube page and see some pretty funny haircuts. But you'll notice that I've always tried to be as truthful as I possibly can be. And that has bred a sense of self-confidence and security in me that no one can take away, no one can give to me. I've given it to myself. So, if nothing else, I hope that this video gets you off your ass and creating something and being a bit kinder to yourself, because that's really what this all comes down to. If you're kinder to yourself, you'll be kinder to others. You'll get better things happening to you in your life, inevitably. It's a very simple thing. It's just kindness. It just starts with you. That's it. You know, sounds like a really cheesy Hallmark moment, so I'm gonna have a coffee to cut the tension. Delicious. But I hope you understand my point, guys, and maybe girls. I mean, last week I only had dudes watch my channel. Quite literally, the statistics were baffling to me even. So to you folks out there, I've been Paul Oz. Thanks for tuning in and for checking out this video. Hope that you get something out of this. And even if you are a very secure person and a confident person, I hope that you understand how awesome that actually is, and you do not take that at all for granted, and that you persevere and create and just keep on doing awesome things, because the world needs it, okay? Cheers, guys. I've been Paul Oz.